Hi guys, it's Mrs. Tucker. Here's one of our last minute topic prior to cramming for the STAR test. I need to talk about samples and surveys. Today we're going to learn how to identify sampling methods and recognize biased samples. Here's all of our vocabulary. A fitness magazine printed a reader survey. Statements 1, 2, and 3 are interpretations. Which do you think the magazine would use? Now remember, this is a fitness magazine. Statement 1, the average American exercises 3 times a week. The average reader of this magazine exercises 3 times a week. The average reader who responded to the survey exercises 3 times a week. Yeah, which one of those do you think they'd use? You guys, when you're reading statements, any kind of statistical data, you got to be careful because you don't know how the people who write the statistics put a spin on it. Did they put a spin on it, or are they giving you accurate information? All right, the population is the entire group being studied. The sample is the part of the population being surveyed. Sometimes the population is too big, like if you got 10,000 people in a town, you can't survey all 10,000 people. So you might only survey a sample, maybe 1,000 of them, and make the results representative of the entire population. To get accurate information, it's important to use good sampling methods. In a random sample, each member of the population has an equal chance of being selected. A random sample is best, but other methods can be used. Okay, unbiased sample. You guys have some notes that you can fill in. An unbiased sample is a valid sample representative of the entire population. Fill that in. All right, we've got 3 different types of random sampling methods, unbiased, valid sampling methods. One is called random, and members are chosen by chance. The next one is called systematic, and members of the sampling group are chosen according to a rule or formula. And the last one is stratified, which is a random sample from randomly chosen subgroups. And let me quickly give you examples of all 3 of those. Okay, we're going to identify the sampling method used here. In a county survey, Democratic Party members whose names begin with the letter D are chosen. What type of sampling method is that? Okay, they are following a rule to survey members whose last names begin with a D, so that one is systematic. They're following a rule. This one, a telephone company randomly chooses customers to survey about its services. What type of sampling method is that? Yeah, if the customers are chosen by chance, that's just simple random sampling. This one, a high school randomly chooses 3 classes from each grade, then draws 3 random names from each class to poll about lunch menus. All right, the 3 classes are the random subgroups. The names are chosen randomly from within the classes. I think choosing by each grade makes them a subgroup also. So that's stratified random sampling. Sometimes these sampling methods result in biased samples. A biased sample does not accurately represent a population. The data collected from biased samples is not reliable. Okay, fill in the blank, your notes on this one. Biased sample, a non-valid sample because one or more parts of the population are favored over others. It's not a valid sample because certain members of the population are favored over others. All right, and there's a couple of different types of biased sampling methods. One is convenience. Members for the sample are chosen because they were easy to reach. And voluntary response. Members choose to be in the sample. Let me show you examples of those. All right, identify the population and the sample. Give the reason why the sample could be biased. Here's a situation. A store manager asks customers who make a purchase how many hours of music they listen to each day. Okay, the population being sampled are record store customers. The actual sample is customers who make a purchase. What's the possible bias here? Why would this not be valid? Customers who make a purchase might be more interested in music than others in the store. There's your bias. That's why this survey might not be valid. Okay, here's another one. An 8th grade student council member polls classmates about a new school mascot. All right, the population is students in the school. Who's being sampled? Just the classmates. Yeah, just classmates. And they just happen to be 8th graders. What's the possible bias here? She polls more 8th graders than students in other grades. Yeah, if you have 7th graders at the school, they're not being sampled. Some schools have 6th graders. They're not being sampled either. Okay, a radio DJ asks listeners for feedback about types of music played on the radio. The population are people who listen to the radio show, but who's being sampled? People who hear the question and who call in. What's the possible bias here? The radio only receives feedback from people who listen to that station and therefore who already enjoy that type of music played on the station. Yeah. Okay, that's it. Good luck with that, guys. You have a short little worksheet to fill out. Good luck.